The Great Hall of the UN General Assembly was filled with a more energized group of delegates on Wednesday, namely over 500 youth from around the world, who came together in New York for the 11th Annual Youth Assembly, with this year's theme focusing in on committing youth leadership to the Millennium Development Goals and the Sustainable Development Goals, with delegate leaders at the UN paving the way.
May I urge you, this young group, to start a campaign in your campuses and in your neighborhoods to save this planet Earth from the clutches of erratic climate change. If unarmed people are killed, we term it genocide. If innocent people are uprooted from their homes and get killed, will you call it ecocide?
We're looking to have you as servant leaders, leaders who, despite walking in front, will acknowledge those behind them. Leaders who will not wait for accolades, but who will be happy that their flock are appreciated. Leaders who will sit at the table and be served last. Leaders who will give their lives in service. Leaders who will be stewards with a never-ending responsibility for the global community in which they live.
That you will continue with patience, tenacity, creativity, wisdom, and balance to show us how to fix what has been done wrong and ultimately to lead the way towards a much more promising future. And we'll be there for you and with you all along the way.
Day one also kicked off with an expert-level Rio+20 panel on issues at the heart of the UN's development agenda.
Water connects everything that we know. And the oceans are the very lifeblood of the planet. We depend on it for drinking. We depend on it, of course, for transportation, for health, for food, for weather. All life that we've ever known depends on water.
There's 2 billion people out there today who don't have access to clean water, clean energy, food, sustainable food, health, or education. Just applying your passions, whether it's music, art, in any aspect, into these areas of, again, it's water, food, energy, shelter, health, and education. That's what we need.
From ideas on how youth can help in ending poverty to what job sectors will be pivotal in the future. 3.5 million people followed Rio+20 online. The majority of followers were under the age of 30.
Recently, I've been using Facebook to promote the country of Rwanda for membership on the UN Security Council. I actually met with a diplomat from Rwanda here in New York City back in June, and I discussed this, and I now have a Facebook page and group. And I can honestly say that for us as young people, it is very, very easy to get involved. It is truly honorable to be dedicated to a cause that you truly believe in.
Experts underlined that lifting the poor out of poverty is about creating jobs and underscored the importance of education at the heart of the process.
One of my passions is being part of a multicultural city, all right? Part of the plurality of New York is what makes it so special, seeing all the different points of view come together from a lot of different types of people. And being the largest city in the country and also so close to the UN, there's such a huge bridge of cultures that the differences allow all the separate and unique ideas to come together and form the best plan for policy in the United Nations.
We're doing something in Hurghada on the Red Sea. And we're hoping that we will have maybe 1,000 youth coming from all over the world and to come and be with them and encourage them and see what they can do to help them, because it's a new phase in the Egyptian country and government.
Recently, I've been buying like reusable bags and reusable water bottles and stuff like that, just to make it more appealing. You know, it doesn't have to be a sacrifice that you're making. It should be really an update of what you're doing with your daily life.
Experts noted that the biggest challenge in meeting the MDGs and working toward the SDGs is indifference, calling on the youth to find their individual passions and to spread the word to become a collective force to help change the world. Because the worst thing you can do is nothing, experts told the youth.
The power of youth, I think others have said it, it really lies in courage And being courageous not just to be innovative, but to be outrageously creative. You've got young minds, and you can think of things that we've not thought of before.
The 11th Annual Youth Assembly will run through Friday.
United Nations, South News, United Nations.
With parents themselves about these issues. Because it's not a simplistic let young people get married issue. A lot of young people don't know what they're getting into when they get married. They don't know what responsibility is. They don't know what a job is. They don't know what it means to be a decent husband or raise kids. And even if a 19-year-old gets married and gets his wife pregnant and they're having a kid before they're 20, right? They're kids themselves, mentally at least, right? Islamically, in the Shari'i sense, they're old enough to get married. But that doesn't mean they're socially mature, they're religiously mature, they're spiritually mature. All these maturities are missing, right? So it's a conversation where level heads from every side have to come together and have a chat. I personally believe this is a problem across the world for Muslims. You know, Desi Muslims are our sampling because that's us, but it's across the world that this is an issue. You know, illicit relationships are rampant in Egypt. They're rampant in Algeria. They're rampant in Pakistan. They're not just here. Muslims are, you know, the young kids are doing whatever they're doing, even in Muslim kids in India and Bangladesh, everywhere, right? It's one thing to just close your eyes and say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Those are the modern people. They're not the masjid people. That's the majority of the ummah, man. 99.5% of the ummah is that. If you just say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, then what's left? You know what I'm saying? And what's also happening at the same time, the 0.05% that's left, not even 0.5, that's too generous. 0.05% that's left is too busy arguing about which scholar is not on the path, and which masjid you should not go to, and what, you know, how long your beard has to be, and, you know, dude, we can discuss that in good times. When we're in good times, we can discuss what color clothes are closer to the sunnah. Right now, we have people that are committing zina, that are leaving Islam. That you go and tell them, you tell a young guy who comes in with their earring, right? That's haram. This guy's almost leaving Islam. The fact that he showed up to the masjid is a big deal. So in his mind, it's not just halal or haram, it's like earring or Islam. What should I pick? Well, I kind of like my earring. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a missing sense of proportion in our religion of the catastrophe that's hitting the ummah. It's high time that all across, I don't care what denomination, ideology, I don't care what people come from, religious leadership has to ring the bell and say, look guys, we need to sit down and sort some things out. The biggest crisis of the ummah is not political, it's not economic, it's not sociological. Biggest problem of the ummah is family. Biggest problem. Father can't talk to son, mother can't talk to daughter, husband can't talk to wife, young man can't talk to his dad and tell him, look, I need to get married, or I'm in a relationship, how do I get out? How many of our boys have girlfriends and I love her, I can't help myself, you know, what am I supposed to do with all these feelings, etc., and I can't talk to my parents because they say it's haram, and they'll say I can't get married. Well, who am I supposed to talk to then? They're just going to go crazy, and eventually you have to give something up. If you have these kinds of pulls, your parents are pulling at you, your religion's pulling at you, your hormones are pulling at you, the girl is pulling at you, you know, everything's pulling at you, right? Eventually you have to say enough. I'm going to have to let something go. So what do most kids let go? Parents, religion, they hold on to the girl. And then when problems occur, then they let her go too. And then now they're by themselves and they're away from the masjid because they're depressed. And they're just, a lot of people are like that. You know?
No one, just to take that a stage further, because I was just discussing this with him. I've got kids we send to the madrasa, they're like under 16, a little under control. But after 16,
so you think?
Well, still there has to be obviously the constant.
Yeah, because 12-year-old kids talk to each other, and what they talk about, we should know.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
You know.
But the point is that in this country, especially after 16, they've got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
How do we attract them to the mosque?
You guys have the most killer youth programs. You should have the most amazing. Like, teens should want to be at the masjid because it's the most fun place to be. They should want to be there. It's the most amazing place.
How do we make it a fun place?
Well, I don't know the culture here, but like here's what we did in our masjid. I used to be a youth director at the masjid. They put me in charge of a Sunday school. I told them it's a bad idea because I'm not gonna. Elders are gonna hate me if if you guys give me this job. They said, we trust you, whatever, go ahead. I eliminated all the textbooks from Sunday school. There was not a single lesson of Islamiyat taught in Sunday school to teenagers in my program. All we did, it was in New York, in Long Island, all we did every week, let's go to the beach. Fajr time, let's pray Fajr and go to the beach. Then let's play some basketball. Then let's get some donuts, let's hang out. Oh, let's play some video games after that and go home. Why? Because teens, all they need is a friend. They don't need advice because they don't listen to it. You have teenagers, you should know that. There were teenagers sitting in this program, they didn't listen to a word I said. Not last night, not now. And that's okay, because they're teenagers. It's all right. We have to know who they are. All they need is, and probably the only reason they came is a friend was coming. They just operate with friends. That's their operating system. Okay? So, give them friends. Best thing you can do for a young Muslim is give them a good Muslim friend. Best thing you can do for them. They don't need advice, they don't need lectures, they don't need to memorize surahs, they don't need to learn fiqh, because they won't practice any of it unless their friends practice it. Our entire project is give them a place to make friends. Give them a place where they're not judged, where they can hang out, where they can feel good about themselves. All teenagers want to do is hang out. That's all they want to do. All girls want to do is talk. Give them a place to talk. You guys have Starbucks over here? Yeah. Okay. We're just, I mean, our girls, they need a place to just sit and chat. Give them a place to chat in the masjid, or close to the masjid. A halal space where they feel comfortable, and they can just hang out. Because if we don't give them that, they'll find that online. They'll find that somewhere else. They'll just find it, right? So what we did in our masjid is, I taught this huge Arabic class, and we raised tons and tons of money just from that class. And our first investment, we put professional basketball hoops and night lights at the masjid. And every single night, guys are getting together, barbecuing, playing ball, coming to third, fourth rak'ah in the jama'ah. Elders are yelling at, hey, salat started, go inside. These are the guys that were at the club last night. I don't mind if they join the fourth rak'ah. I don't mind. At least they're here. Even if he doesn't come in for salat. Dude, he's within like 100 feet of the masjid. That's a big deal. This guy didn't even know that there's such a thing called masjid. He doesn't even, a Muslim kid doesn't even know that, right? We have to create, like, part of our investment needs to be, what are youth into?
When we become religious, we stay in our religious cocoon, we forget the rest of the ummah.
That's correct.
And how they're suffering. And this is what we...
It has to change. And plus the other thing is, look at the prophets, right? Salih is some good example. He would go to the business places of people, where the sinners are. He'd go to where the sinners are to go talk to them. Right? We, religious folks, will never be seen near city center, near the club scene, near the party. Why? Because that's haram, astaghfirullah al-azim, right? You don't want to deal with